You know, when you're the cheap drums guy, life isn't all just, fun and games and playing drums and such. Sometimes it's helping out family. Like that old dude in front of me in the red truck. I'm following my father-in-law an hour and a half north just to help him for 10 minutes at his house. And he's driving under the speed limit the whole way. Look at this guy passing me. Indiana license plate. Take your ass back home. Get out of my state. Telling you that flipping drum dial works. Hey, whoop! What the hell? Hey everybody, how's it going, eh? Long time no see. Todd, the cheap drums guy. Well, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Holy wow! People been getting sick. People been getting unsick, and then sick again. And then people are having medical emergencies. We're driving here, driving everywhere. Can we take a break, please? Can we just take a flippin' break for 1 minute? Plus, this time of year, fall, the colors are just coming out and everything is beautiful, but the weather's poopy because it's raining. My yard's full of acorns and pissed off squirrels. What to do? Shit. But anyways, not a lot going on in my drum world. This is probably the first time I've sat down in here a week. There's been so much going on, my motivation levels dropped considerably. It's not that I don't like the drums, I still love the drums. However, life is more important right now. And my drums have been kind of collecting dust a little bit. Today I plan on making up on that a little bit, or making them up to them, I should say. I do have to switch a kit out. I think I'll pull my APK up next, and although it's kind of nice having the big kit down here. But I had a few things I was working on as far as videos go. A couple of things just didn't work out right. Mainly in my execution of them, just because I don't have a lot of the stuff I needed to do it. Which I thought was kind of interesting, and as I was talking to John online, and we were talking about drum shells and how big expensive drum sets, with big maple shells and the huge high quality hardware, the big thick heavy hardware on there, if that would stifle the drum sound a little bit. And in all actuality, I believe it probably would. As opposed, the thicker drum shells, the denser hardwood with better grade heavy duty hardware on it, as opposed to thinner shells of a lighter type, not as dense wood, with very inexpensive hardware on that, being much lighter, ultra weight. I believe it would change the sound greatly, and I actually believe probably there'd be more sound out of the inexpensive lightweight kit as there would with the expensive heavyweight, just because for the simple fact is, take a big 55-gallon drum of something and put your hand on it with very little pressure, hit it, you're going to hear a sound. Now put both your hands on it and have somebody hit it, the sound's going to be greatly diminished because you got heavier duty, heavier weight and larger hardware on there and whatnot. I really didn't have a way to execute the plan effectively, and it was a little bit more complicated than I really wanted to get into because I don't have the time available. But anyways, so what am I going to do today? well, there was several things I was going over, but I made a promise to somebody online a while back, Lori, uh, a review, not necessarily a review, kind of a comparison between cymbal types. Uh, as as you know, I do have two cymbal sets. One is primarily a Sabian XS20 in B20 bronze, which is a beginner's level cymbal. Well, not well, intermediate, uh, like an intermediate, just stepping into a B20 line of cymbals. That's what the XS20s were designed for. For the most part, the Sabian set is XS20s, but there is also an AAX explosive crash and a 14-inch thin crash. Those are my Sabians, and I also have the Paiste PST7's, and I've had those since the onset of all of this. And it's kind of interesting because the Paistes are not made of B20 bronze. Most higher end Paiste cymbals are not made of B20 bronze. They're made of B10 bronze. Paiste is the only company who can actually do their wizardly magic and make B20 sound exceptional. Their Paiste 2002 line, the Rude series cymbals, all their higher end are all B20, or not B20, there I go again, B10. So there you go, stick that one in your hat for a rainy day. Nobody does B10 like Paiste, and they're a fabulous cymbal. And as you'll see when you see them, the fit and finish and the quality of them is exceptional. Generally, Paiste cymbals are made in Germany, and their higher end ones are then sent on to Switzerland to be hand pounded and laid and worked on. But the PST7's, I believe, well, I guess they do go to Switzerland as well. I don't know, maybe they're on vacay or holiday, whatever, I don't know. But the sound is really refined on there, and the fit and finish is beautiful. And we're going to go over and show you both the ins and outs of both sets of cymbals. So we're going to do that on this fine, bleak and dismal, rainy freaking... Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what I'm saying, like in regards to like B20, B10, B12, it's the metallurgy of a cymbal. B20 bronze, what it is, it's 80% copper and 20% tin. The number on like B10, B12, B20, that last number denotes the amount of tin in the cymbal. And tin, the added tin will give it a lighter sound, kind of a glassier sound in a way. Most of the higher end B20 cymbals are made with B20. Vinyl Byzance, and which, to tell you the truth, I really never liked vinyl Byzance. They just sound too, I mean, they're a very light cymbal. They just sound, God, what's that even? They just way too tinny. I guess they're great for recording. That's why people like them, and I guess they're the in thing, the trendy thing right now. Drummers, just like anyone else, they get into the trends and stuff like that. But it's a lighter, glassier, pretty explosive sound. You don't have to hit them as hard to really get them to project. These cymbals are a little opposite. These are the medium, although they're medium thins. You still got to put a little oomph on them to get them going, except for the Sabian AAX, the explosion crash. That one, you just look at it and it's going to be flipping loud. Hence the reason they call it explosion. Sabian has several series of their B20 bronze, their XS20s, like these, their HH, their HHX, which are very high end, very expensive. I've never myself put my hands on an HHX cymbal, but I will assume that they are extremely high quality in regards, since they charge quite a bit for them. So, but I'm happy with my XS20s. The XS20s started out as Sabian's first step into XS20s for the intermediate series of drummers. The lathing and the hammering, you know, they don't take it to the full extent like they would with the HX6. But for what they are, they're still a pretty decent quality cymbal, and you do get good sound out of these cymbals. Now, I don't have a full set of XS20s. As I said, I had an AAX also, and I have an AA up here. So we'll just go off of just the basic set, and then I'll throw in the others afterwards. I do have XS20 14-inch hats, XS20 16, XS20 18, and 20-inch ride. So I'll go over those real quick, and then I can add in at the end the AAX 17 and the 14. And the hats. XS20 16-inch crash, medium thin crash. I like the medium thin because it doesn't have the overly tinny sound. And the 18. And that was kind of close to the camera. Whoops. And the 20 ride. The ride is my least favorite of this set, just due to the fact that it really doesn't have a refined sound to it. It doesn't, I don't know, it's just not as appealing. Like my Paiste 20-inch medium thin ride is really washy. You have to tone it down a little bit, but it's a beautiful sound, especially the bell. The bell on the XS20 ride is just, it really doesn't cut it to me. The XS, it also has the wash on it. It has a decent wash on it as well, but it's kind of a noisy wash. It's not really as soothing, so I do have to dumb it down a little bit with moon gels. But since they're here, let's throw in the AA 14-inch. The AA is another series of Sabian that is made from B20 bronze. Sabian has two in that area. They have the AA and the AAX. Now, the AA series of Sabian cymbals were made to try to bring in that old nostalgic sound, the old sound from like the 70s, the crashes then, and supposed to have an older sound to it, whereas the AAX are supposed to be more modern sounding, a little lighter, a little tinnier. Again, I don't know, with the amount of being able to change the sounds and the recording magic and whatnot, sometimes I kind of even wonder why even have drums and cymbals anyways, because you know they're just going to change all the sound anyways, and they can just, it's just easier to have someone program it on a computer than pay a drummer to do it. So it just, I don't know, new music just sucks compared to where it was 30, 40 years ago. But anyways, the AAX, the Sabian AAX Explosion, this is it's a light cymbal, very thin, but man, it does not take a lot to get it to project and really open up. So let's just give her a little taste of that real quick. She's got a nice sound to it, and again, it doesn't take much for her to sing out a little bit. So you got to be careful, because if you're used to hitting the 18-inch and the 16-inch with certain strength, you got to remember to little lighter touch on the AEX, the explosion, just because she's gonna let you know she's there.
You ever fly the Motor West? Travel my way, that's a highway, that is a bet. Get your kicks out on Route 66. What do you think, Jason? Lottie wine with Chicago to LA on the way. More than 2,000 miles along the way. Get your kicks out on Route 66.
Now, I really like these Paistes. This was the first set of cymbals I got, the first ones that I was able to really use. I did when I got that first drum set through my friend at Goodwill. There was cymbals that followed later that were cambers and crut specials, and they're the ones that have been chopped up over time. But this was my first true set of cymbals, and I bought these brand new out of Sweetwater. Now, at the time, these are the medium thins, or just called mediums. I wanted the thinner set, the studio set, just because I like the sound of the thin crashes better. But the Paistes, these were $445 for a set with the 16 crash, 18 crash, 20 ride, and 14-inch hats. Immediately upon taking these out of the box, you'll notice the fit and finish. They are beautiful cymbals, very beautiful. Not a mark on them, and everything about them is just perfect, and they sound wonderful too. They're not B20 Bronzo, they're the B10, and Paiste is the only company who can take B10, which is usually kind of a poopy sound for the most part, and they've turned them into a classic cymbal sound, i.e. the Paiste 2002 series, as well as the big beats, I think they are, and the Rude series and Masters or Signature or whatever. I think they follow along the same pattern there. They've got a wonderful technique, closely guarded too, because I have no flipping clue how they do it. Then again, I could care less. It's their business crap, not mine. But let's go through these real quick. Now we have the 16-inch crash, 18-inch crash, and these are all mediums. And I also have a second crash, or a third crash that's in between the two, a 17-inch, but that is a thin crash. So let's go over those real quick. It's a little heavier sound than the XS20s. Then again, less tin content comes into play with that as well. The 18 takes a little bit to get to sing. You got to hit that one a little harder, but then again, the larger the cymbal you get, the more metal you get, and the more little oomph you're going to have to put on it. And here's the 17. I love how my wife goes out and does something. She knows I'm down here playing or doing a video or something, and she comes down, starts talking to me, and her clue should be that I get up and walk to the iPod and turn it off. Killer. Yeah, it's on. All right. So I had to stop it and start it, edited all that crap out. This is real life. This isn't make-believe like most of YouTube. But now the 20-inch ride for the PST7's She's really washy, but it's got a really nice distinctive bell. And usually, because sometimes the wash to me is a little overpowering, sometimes I have to put a couple of moon gels on it just to tame it down a little bit, because I like to play it. I like to play it further out on there, and it creates too much wash. But the only other Paiste that I have, other than the hats, is 14-inch China. I hate Chinas. Anybody knows me knows that I hate Chinas. And I'm especially really not a fan of the 14 because it's a kind of a pissy wimp little sound. Not a lot as far as China goes. But since I let you hear everyone else, let's go with this one. So, that's that. Now, one thing I've been planning on doing to the Paistes for the longest time, because I love having the Paiste logo on there, I absolutely hate the PST7 logo. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the font. I'm really peculiar about my fonts. I just don't want it on there. So sometime down the road, because they're my cymbals, I can do it. I don't want to hear anything. I might get some paint thinner or mineral spirits and take off the protective coating that's on the cymbals. The difference with like the Paistes compared to the Sabians, the Paistes have a protective coating after the cymbals lathed and hammered and whatnot and cleaned and buffed. The logo is inked on there, and then there's a preservative put over the cymbal to keep it from tarnishing. And we won't get into that mess. But it does protect the cymbals, and it's easy to take off your fingerprints and the stick marks with it on there. However, I think it changes the sound a little bit. I think it'd be more of a drier sound if it was removed. And the only way I can take off the PST7 part of it is actually take off the finish. I've had it on there for a year, year and a half. I haven't taken them off yet, just for the fact that once it's done, it's done. There's nothing else you can do. So, I don't know. In all actuality, I'll probably end up just keeping it on there because the amount of work involved with removing all that coating is just going to be a bloody nightmare. And frankly, I got too much crap going on to worry about that. So, that'll probably stay on there. But in comparison to the two, well, it's really not a fair comparison. The Paistes I bought brand new. The Sabian series, all the Sabian cymbals that I bought have been used through Guitar Center. So they're maybe 15, 20 years old. I assume that when they were brand new, they looked perfect. However, I haven't detected any preservative on the cymbals itself on the Sabians. Hence the reason why they're probably all tarnishing and I have to keep cleaning them every so often, which is fine. It doesn't bother me too much. But as far as sound goes, it's kind of weird. Sound is subjective. Certain songs, well, actually the Paistes fit into everything I play, as does the Sabians, but I get a different feeling, different reaction. The Paistes, to me, are a more refined sound or a cleaner sound when I play them. And the XS20s, which are made of B20 bronze, you'd think they'd be a better sounding cymbal. They're really not. They fit into everything you play, and they have a good sound. But the quality just really isn't where, up to the Paiste standards, I guess. But they're still a wonderful cymbal. Now, if I could go back and do everything over again, I might, well, crap, I can't really say that. I'd probably still stick with the Paistes, the PST7's. For the price, the affordability, I mean, it's there, and you get the sound, you get the look. They look beautiful as well. That beautiful gold shimmer on there. They have a really nice, pleasant sound to them. You can tell they put a lot of time and effort into these cymbals to get them just right. Now these are made. The PST7s are made exactly like Paiste's high-end 2002s. Now, 2002s are arguably some of the finest, most popular cymbals out there. There's a lot of history behind them, too. It's one of their top-of-the-line sets, but they're made with the same material as the PST7s. The PST7s are an inexpensive version of the 2002s. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise about the PST7s. They are a very good cymbal at an intermediate price range, which is fantastic. You're just a new drummer moving into something better, getting away from those Sabian B8s or the Meinl HCS brass. PST7s are a fantastic choice. Absolutely fantastic. You can't go wrong with them. Rob Beatdown Brown off YouTube, another famous YouTube drummer, he loves his PST7s. And in some cases, you can't really tell the difference between the PST7s and the Paiste 2002s. Those with a very acute ear will tell you the only difference in sound you'll get is that the 2002s have a little glassier sound that carries on a little bit. As when they sing out, there's a little bit of a glassiness, a little bit more. But other than that, sound-wise, you really can't tell the difference. And I am happy I picked these up. They look good on the set and they sound good. And they've never disappointed me yet. Now the XS20s, I would love to have a pair when they were brand new. It would have been fantastic. These are a little seasoned, a little soiled. They've been around the block, so to speak, like my ex-girlfriend. But they've changed too, sound-wise. Now cymbals, when you combine copper and tin, two different alloys, when you combine them in the smelting process, for the most part, they might go together well, at first. But after a while, the copper and the tin, they break down. They start to separate. And my nose is really dry. It's really dry down here. The metals begin to separate over time. I probably haven't had these Paistes. The Paistes aren't old enough, really, probably so this has happened. But my XS20 is definitely there because they're probably 15 or 20 years old. The metallurgy starts to break down. And a lot of people say, well, it's the tarnish. The tarnish affects it. No, not really. It's just a coating on there, a very thin oxidization and whatnot. But what it is, the metals break down. The tin separates itself from the copper. And your cymbals will get a more a warm sound to them, I guess. They're not so bright and in your face. They just call it broken in. And that's probably happened with those over time. Now, there's a lot less tin content in the PST7s as with the XS20s. I don't think the change over time will be as much. The XS20s, they don't really make the XS20 anymore. Now they're called XSR. The XS20s is kind of an older sound. The XSR is to be a more modern, tinier sound, so they're probably a thinner cymbal. But I would like to see what those sound like right here, so I can compare them to see the differences. And I'm really curious to see what they sounded like, because these are cymbals that have broken in by now, and the metals have kind of done their things and all that. These still probably have a ways to go, if they even do it at all. But I'm really happy I got the XS20s also. The PST7s, to me it was important to change the sound because I get tired of the same thing. Except my wife, because she overheard me talking about that. I get tired. I like, multiples of things, and she goes, except my wife. I'm quite content with her. But it's nice to have different sounds. Even if it's just one extra cymbal that you use quite often, just having a different sound, it brings out, it gets you more excited to play and do everything. And it was important for me to get a second set of cymbals, just for that fact. Same thing, I have 3 sets of drums. Just, I get tired with one, I can move on to another one, and then I'm excited again. Same thing with the cymbals. And I am very happy. And again, if these walked away in the middle of the night by a guy in a hockey mask, I'd buy another set of PST7's. I might even try the PST8's too, because they're a bright finish and they sound a lot brighter. I do like that. It's pretty bright sound. The PST5's are a lesser grade than the PST7's, and the PST3's are the brass. Paiste also makes the 101 series, which are brass, and then they have the 201, which is their first step into the bronze with those. I'm not sure if they still make them. You can still buy those complete sets on Amazon and whatnot, and through other suppliers. But these are really nice. The XS20s, I am really happy I picked those up. I don't think I could have found a better second set to use down here for my purpose. You know, I don't record myself. I'm just down here to have fun and play, to have fun. I haven't done it a lot lately. I mean, this is the first time in like a week I've sat behind the drums. I just got so much crap going on. But anyways, Lori wanted a comparison between the PST7's and my XS20 or Sabian sets. Both are wonderful, wonderful sets. This being B10 bronze and the other being B20 bronze. I'm happy with both sets completely. If I were to, just down here in the basement, the Paistes, you know, in the environment such as it is, it's not a loud, airy room. Everything, there's carpet and there's a lot of sound absorption. The Paistes really come through just because it sounds more refined. It's a cleaner sound. It's a happier sound, I guess. If I were to gig or, you know, go play at a bar or something like that, definitely the XS20s. They seem to ring out a little bit more. They cut a little bit, they'll cut above the mix a little bit better. And they'll probably take the beating a little bit. I mean, I really don't clobber these Paistes. There's really no need to. But the XS20s are used anyways, and they'd probably be better in a live event, a live venue. But I'm Todd, the Cheap Drums Guy, and it's my Saturday, and I'm sweating like a hooker in church right now because I got a sweatshirt on here, down here. This is one of the ones my wife on her trip to San Diego, California. Yeah, pretty cool. Spent $2,000 on her and her friend's vacation, and all I got is a crappy sweatshirt. But it's warm. What the hell? But anyways, I've got some stuff to do, and I'm going to also play some War Thunder, so I'm into combat games and stuff like that. And maybe down the pike, there's going to be a second channel of mine, which is going to be War Thunder Quickies. Everybody likes a quickie now and again, about like as far as War Thunder. It's an action, it's a combat game, air, land, air, sea, naval, tanks, lots of tanks. I've been playing that for 7 years now, and I really enjoy it. It takes the edge off a lot of stuff. But anyways, I'm going to get up out of here and turn that off, edit it, put it online, and then I'll probably come down and play some more because it's kind of nice. And now that I have the Paistes up, I haven't had these up in, when did I get my XS20s? It's probably been up 5 or 6 months. So this is the first time they've been down. I got to clean them up, put some pledge on them, make them nice, shiny, and pretty.